So hello guys, welcome back to another exercise. So today in this exercise, first we will add another network adapter for the server. After that we will configure static ipv4 address for the server, and then we will have two network adapters, external and internal. And then this is the IP address that we have to configure in one of the network adapter. We will rename our server and we will put server 2019-1, and after that we will create a snapshot of the installation, so if we need it in future we can revert back to the original state. And then after we will do some other settings. So let's start from the first step, which is that we have to create another network adapter for our server. So for this, let me minimize and we open our VMware Workstation Pro and we select our virtual machine, and in the virtual machine we go to settings, and here you will notice that we have only one network adapter which we are using as network address translation. So we click on add and we select network adapter and click OK, finish. So after we finish, here you can see that we have to choose custom specific virtual network, because you have different settings which you can change. For example, if you see here in custom, so you can see here vmnet1 is for host only, so we select vmnet5 and OK, and now we can switch on our virtual machine. And then the next step is to configure a static ipv4 address on our server. So the IP address that we have to use is listed down, and if you see here that if the start menu icon is not visible properly, what you can do is you go to view and here go to stretch guest, keep aspect ratio stretch. You can select this option and the start menu option will be visible. So we send the alt control delete command and put our password. We enter, and because my server was shut down unplanned, so it will give me a notification like this. So it was unplanned restart. So we go to control panel now, and in control panel network and internet, and here network and sharing center, change adapter setting, and here we have two network adapters, ethernet 0 and ethernet 1. So now we have to rename them. So let's go back to the study guide, and here you will notice that the ethernet 0 will become external net, because we are using internet from the host machine and we are using network address translation. So the first one will become external net. So we go here and we right click on ethernet 0, click rename, and it will become external net and OK. Now we have to change the other one, ethernet 1. So we right click on ethernet 1 and it will become internal. So this one we rename it and it will become internal. So this one will become internal. So now we have two network adapters, same as the study guide, external net and internal. So we close the task manager, and here let's check what we have to do next. So now we will configure static ipv4 address. So we have external net and internal, and these are OK. So now our next step will be to configure static IP address. So this is the IP address that we have to put. So we have to change it for the internal, and we will put static IP, which is here. So we click on internal and properties, and here we click on IPv4 address. So internet protocol version 4 TCP IPv4. We double click on it, and here now we have to click on use the following IP address, and we will put the same IP address which is listed in the study guide and the subnet and OK, and we click OK. So now we are using the static IPv4 address which we have just configured, and we go to command prompt and we do ipconfig, and here you can see that we have the IP address that we have configured as internal 192.168.1.200. So this part is completed. Now our next step is to rename our server. So we have to rename it as server 2019-1, but as you know that we are using 2022 version, so we will rename it as server 2022-1. So let's follow these steps and we can rename our server. So we close this one, let me full screen it, close, and now we go to server manager, and in server manager we click on local server, and here you can see that this is our computer name, WinNEQV, this one. So after it loads, we click on the server computer name, and then we click on change. And here we can rename our server. So let me write server 2022-1 and OK. And it will ask you to restart your server. So you must restart. OK, close and restart now. So it will stop all the services and then it will boot again. We send the alt control delete command and we put our password back. Okay, and we'll double check it. So again we will go to server manager and we go to local server. So give it some time to load, and you can see that we have server 2022-1. So it is renamed. So this part is completed as well. So now we have to create a snapshot. So what is a snapshot? So snapshot is a copy of the installation that you have done. So if you want to revert back to the original state where you are now, you can use the snapshot and you will get the virtual machine back, and it will have all the settings that you have done till now. So we click on the virtual machine, snapshot, take snapshot. We can rename the snapshot if we want, and we can put a description as well. So this is the fresh installation snapshot, Windows Server 2022-1, take snapshot, and it will ask you to take full snapshot, and then it will start the progress. So here you can see that it is saving the state. So it will take some time, depends on the settings and services you have installed. So we can wait for it, and then after this one is finished, it will take a few minutes to be created, and we can track the snapshot creation progress in the bottom left, as I have shown you. So after this one we have to create another virtual machine. So but to follow this step, we have to first finish our snapshot, because we have to switch off our virtual machine to create a second machine. So these are the steps that we have to follow. So we minimize, and here you can see that the state is 24% completed. So let me wait for it, and then I will be back. So you can see that the saving state is almost completed, and it is completed now. So now to create another virtual machine, we have to switch off this one first. Here you can see in the heading, create a second virtual machine by cloning the first one. So when you want to clone, you have to first switch off the virtual machine you want to clone. So we go to power and we switch it off. So from the start menu, power and shut down, unplanned, continue. So after this one switches off, then we can clone it. So here you can see that this one is switched off. So we right click on the virtual machine and we have to go to manage. So choose manage clone, click next twice, and then choose create a full clone, and then we can select a location. So right click, manage clone, next, and this will be the current state of the machine, and create a full clone. And a full clone will be a copy of the original virtual machine, which will be independent of the other one. So I click on next, and here you have to choose the location for the clone files, and you can rename the virtual machine as well. So this I want to leave it as it is, and I click on finish. So now the cloning process will take some time as well, depends on the services and the speed of your PC and everything. So it will take some time. So let's see the next step. So after our clone is finished, we will switch on the server 2019-1, which is the first virtual machine, and we will switch it on. And then after we have to go to server 2, which is the virtual machine 2. So let's wait for this one first to be finished. So here you can see that it is finished, and then we can close it. And now you will see that we have another copy. So now the first step we have to do is start the virtual machine 1. So let's start the first virtual machine. So now here you can see that we have two clone of the first one and the original virtual machine. So let's start the first one. Okay, this one is started, and now we can switch on the other one as well. switch the virtual machine to tab, and we click on virtual machine settings because we want to change the adapter setting for it, and we have to change for the one which is configured with net. So here we can send the alt control delete command and we put our password again. So this one is logged in. Now we go to this one and we click on settings, and now we go to the network adapter which has configured net. So this one we will switch it off because we don't want to use internet in this one, and this one we can delete it, remove, and OK. So now we have only internal adapter in the virtual machine 2. So we go to network adapter configured with net and we can remove this one, and then we can switch on this machine as well. So now you are increasing the load on your PC because you have 2 virtual machines running, your host machine is also running, and you have some other task as well. So now let's wait for this one to switch on, and the password and other settings will be exactly the same as the original virtual machine. And if you notice, my CPU uses, it is going a little bit higher, and the memory as well, because I have 2 virtual machines running now, and one virtual machine is using 6 gigabytes of my memory. So I have 12 gigabytes for the virtual machines only, and then the host machine is working as well. So you should have around 16 gigabytes at least for the RAM, and CPU should be good enough. So let's close this one now, and you can see that our virtual machine is up now, and we can send the alt control and delete command, and we have to put the same password as the original virtual machine. So let's put our password and we get in the virtual machine, and let me exit full screen mode and we check our next step. So the next step is that we have to configure ipv4 address to obtain IP address and DNS server automatically for the internal network interface. But remember that you are using vmnet 5 in the internal adapter, so it will not allow you to access the internet from the host machine. So you have to change it to vmnet 1 if you want to use internet in this one. So we go to control panel, but we are moving according to the study guide: network and internet, network and sharing center, change adapter settings, and for the internal we right click on it and properties, internet protocol 4, and obtain the IP address automatically. Okay, and now if you notice, still it is identifying the network and it doesn't have internet access. So it's because we are using vmnet 5 in this one, so it will not have internet access from the host machine. But this one is okay for us, we can continue to the next step. We close this one, and let's minimize this one and we go to the next step. So the next step is that we have to change the computer name to server 2019-2, which will be server 2022-2. So this you know how to do it now. So we go to start menu, server manager, local server, and computer name. So these services and these things, when you do them, you will just remember them by heart. So now we can change the server name to 2022-2 and okay. And obviously even now it will ask you to restart the virtual machine, so we close and restart now. So I hope that you are liking these videos and you are getting some very useful information. So in the next exercise we have to configure the DNS server, and that one will be more important than this one. So this was some basic things that we have done. So in the next one we will do DNS server and we will configure the DNS server settings as well. So I will upload the next video soon. So our virtual machine is up again, so we can send the alt control delete command. We put the password and we will verify that our server name has changed. So start menu, server manager, local servers, and here you can see that we have server 2022-2. So let's exit the full screen and we check our next step. So now if you want, you can take another snapshot of the same virtual machine that you have installed, but I don't want to take the snapshot now, and I will see you in the next video.